All right, while I wait for people to jump on here, I'm just going to get started on today's meeting here. And the timestamp, but I think we're at the September 22nd. Yep. And the reason we haven't had one every other week as far as a meeting is intentional. I'm trying to save up meetings for you guys when the market really starts to move, because when it really starts to move, that's when you're going to need me. And we may get to a point where we're just having them every week for a period of time and to take advantage of profits, taking profits, which is one thing I really want to get into today. Some of the things you need to do when the market does start to flip and start to change. And here's what I'm seeing right now. So the cycle's about to change where we are. Right now we've been in a bear market since around October 21st, I believe, of last year, when Bitcoin hit its all-time high. And we've had several down legs. During those down legs, I've been dollar cost averaging. Probably some of you have been dollar cost averaging as well. And not a bad way to do it. Then in a down market, when it's going down like that, dollar cost averaging is good. Trying to time the bottom is near impossible. Apologize there. Trying to time the bottom is almost impossible. Really, truly is. Sometimes you get lucky and you get the bottom, but if you're dollar cost averaging as the market goes, and if it goes down, you're bringing your average purchase price of whichever cryptos you're buying down. So that's the ultimate strategy. It's what I did from 2017. Then it started, of course, the market started raging, got really hot at the end of the year, and then it crashed. So after it crashed, I was just buying in. Every single deal I did, I was putting $500 to $1,000 in the cryptos. Occasionally, if I had a big deal, I'd put like 5,000 into cryptos. So that's basically what I was doing, dollar cost averaging in. But what I didn't do, and why you guys are all here with me, you're going to learn from my mistakes. My mistakes were not taking enough profits during the time, right? Thinking it's always going to be going up. When it's in that bull market, we all think it's going to continue to go up and up and up. And it doesn't, it obviously does not always go up. But when you're in that euphoria and you're checking your phone in the middle of the night to watch what the prices are doing, because they were skyrocketing. I did this many times through multiple market cycles now. I was not taking profits. Now, my mindset was I was a 5 to 7 year time frame. So I didn't care as much about taking profits. But in retrospect and looking back, if I would have taken profits during that time, I would have had probably 20, 30 times the amount of cryptos that I have right now. And though I've done well, I could have done exponentially better. And that's what I'm hoping to help you guys do, get exponentially better with this. So with that being said, just want to go over actually, I want to hit this real quick for you guys. This is a really good guy to follow. Bullshift2020.com. Marty Hibbs, he's a trader I follow out of Canada. I can't remember where in Canada he is, but he's been in the markets, mostly in the stock markets and stuff, since the middle 80s, maybe even early 80s. But he's in the silver gold. He's really big into the cryptos and has gotten big into cryptos over the past 5 years. Definitely a good one to follow. And he's been spot on with his analysis over the past, since 2019, I've been following him. So it's 3 years now. Rarely gets anything wrong. Usually when he calls a market high or high in Bitcoin, he's correct. And that's why I like to follow him. And that's why I pay for his services. And it's not that expensive. Now, you could take classes for him. Some of the things he just gives out for free on his website. If you just sign up for his newsletter, which he gives like a weekly video on YouTube, usually about 20 minutes or so, a little bit under. You see this one here is 14 under, just about 15 minutes. Most are pretty short. And he gets into the dollar. And what you're seeing on the screen here is the parabolic move of the dollar. And I'm going to be getting into that shortly here. Actually, let's just dive into it right now. The reason cryptos have been getting hit, the reason gold and silver have been getting hit, the reason commodities and other things have taken off is all to do with the dollar. The US dollar has been gaining strength. You look at it, we perceive the US dollar as junk here because we see what our government does, printing money and all that. As bad as it is here, it's way worse in other countries. And we're the reserve currency of the world. So that gives us a special status. We're very, very fortunate and lucky. And most people don't realize how fortunate or lucky we are to have the reserve currency. That, the petrodollar, as it's called, it's basically used to trade oil with everywhere except for China, Iran, and Russia right now. They don't use the dollar anymore, but everywhere else in the world does. So with that being said, the value of the dollar has been going up and up and up. It's around 110, 112 against the euro, which is pretty high, not its all-time high. But it's the reason why silver's gone down, gold's gone down, and the cryptos have been hit. And inflation is a reason the stock market's been hit to an extent. Inflation ultimately later on will help propel cryptos once cryptos are more widely adopted. And the reason for that is once it's easy for people to buy cryptos and hold them in their wallet, whether they have, down the road, probably in the very near future, whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase Bank, have the ability to hold and custody cryptos for their clients, that's going to make it so much easier. Because you think about it, people our age, older, our parents, grandparents, for them to be able to hold cryptos, it's not easy. It's not a simple process. So until they simplify that, you don't have the mass adoption. Plus regulations come in and will give it mass adoption. And again, that's a double-edged sword with regulations here, which we could talk about now or another day. But with that being said, it will ultimately help us with inflation because it's easier to hold and custody cryptos. More people will do it and adopt it. And then it'll offset, like as the dollar is losing value or gaining value here, you can offset it with a rise in cryptos, but that's down the road. That's not yet. It's not working that way. And gold and silver, are largely manipulated. JP Morgan, again, hit with more fraud charges this past week for manipulating silver. And all they get is a slap on the wrist, $900 million fine, which is chump change, I guess, to them. But that's what's going on in gold and silver markets. And the dollar may end up backtracking slightly for a week or so. But I think with the interest rate increase they just did, Japan, again, sticking with negative interest rates, and other central banks around the world not increasing like we're increasing, it's going to make the dollar even stronger. And you can look for it to do what cryptos do. Cryptos, the altcoins have a blow off top at the end of a market cycle. This is likely to happen here. And it's a 50-50 proposition right now, according to Marty Hibbs, that the dollar has a blow off top somewhere 120, 130, 140. He has no idea how high it could go. A lot of other factors could be behind that. But as it does that, you will see gold, silver, and cryptos take a big hit, a really big hit. Even the stock market will take a big hit too. And then what'll happen is it'll get up to the top. It'll be like a bubble, boom, pop, and then go down. There's an old saying that the bull goes up the stairs and the bear goes out the window, which happens faster, right? Bull markets go up, bear markets go down way quicker, right? Because people panic. It's just human nature, the way people are. Once there's blood on the streets, people panic and panic sell, and that's when you don't want to be selling. You want to be buying when there's blood on the streets. You don't want to be selling when there's blood on the streets. So depending on people's age, if they're at near retirement, they don't want to lose it all, right? So they're selling and trying to not get hit with the downside. Whereas if they just wait 5 years, they're probably likely to have it all back and then some. But that's where we are with the market. I do think in the next month, 2, or worst case scenario by the end of the year here, 3 months, that the dollar will be done. It'll have its run up and it'll start its decline. And that's where all markets will be hit. We'll have a lot more deflationary things going on in the market. Real estate values are going to drop as long as interest rates keep going up like they have here. Again, they bumped from 5.4 to just over 6% here in a week. So not good for real estate as far as people's ability to afford real estate. Great for rentals, I would suppose, but even rentals could continue to climb a little bit because what we had before, again, a lot of you are in real estate like I am. What we had in January, a year ago, the rates were 2.875. Even in January, around 2.75. And then by March, they were up over 5%, near 6%. checked back a little bit, and now they're going back up again. So what happened for the rental market was the people who could afford to buy early in the year and were locked in were good. But that second quarter and third quarter this year with real estate, people were renting more, or like, I can't buy now because the price is too high. So I'm just going to rent and wait for and hope rates come down or hope prices come down. So that's what bumped the rental market up there for a little bit. So we might get another little bump in the rental market, but the rents can only go up so high. Look, it's unaffordable for people. Average rent was over $2,000. That's really high. I mean, that was a lot higher than the average mortgage that people pay up until this past couple of years with this big run up that we've had. But that's where we are in the market, obviously, and it's hitting everything. But I do think the cryptos will go up, and they will end up going up quickly. And that's where you want to be ready, right? So if you're dollar cost averaging now, because Bitcoin's what, about 80% of its all-time high. If we do the quick math, I think, let me just take a look and see what the numbers are. But I believe it's off nearly 80% of its all-time high. And that's usually what happens in a bear market. It'll go all the way down that. So we got, it's about 19,000 now. So about 73%. So when you get close to that 80%, that means it has a chance to get down to that 15,000 to 17,500, fairly likely. It has a chance to get down into that area. It's probably going to have a lot of resistance around 17,500. And then, but if it does break that resistance line, then 15 would be the next resistance line. And if it does break that one, 12 is pretty much your floor right now. It's going to be really hard for it to fall below 12, just because how much money got in there at that point, below that point, or at that point, average cost buying by people over the years. Because my average cost probably around 9,000 or 8,000 on Bitcoin over the years. But most people who have gotten in more recently over the past few years, probably in the 20s, maybe even 30s, some people. So that's where the crypto market is. I do think as soon as the dollar loses steam, cryptos will then have their run up. Silver and gold too. Silver more so than gold, just because silver generally, when gold and silver go up, silver goes up exponentially more. And generally throughout history, silver has traded about 17 to 1 of what gold is. And right now it's around 58 or 59 to 1 of what gold is. So with that, knowing that what history is, that means silver should outpace it. And again, silver's used much more in industry use, with solar panels and cell phones and all these other things. It has so many use cases there that a lot of it gets destroyed. So the supply is more limited potentially than gold, just because of its use. So silver I definitely do like as well, but cryptos are very easy to use. In comparison to silver and gold, it's really hard to use silver to buy something, or gold, you have to trade somebody, right? Or trade them for the dollar. It can be hard to trade somebody silver for crypto potentially, but at some point it'll probably more likely happen. But the run up that may happen with gold, silver, and cryptos could come pretty quickly. It could be very rapid. And as that's happening, people will be panicking to buy in. It's almost like, fear of missing out, the FOMO. That's what they're going to have there. So they'll all be panicking, buying, and that pushes it up really, really quick. So then you got to be ready, most importantly, with sell orders. And this is primarily what I wanted to talk about today. So as the market happens, and then we'll be talking a lot more often, we'll have a lot more of these probably weekly. And if the market's really going crazy, maybe even a couple in a week on occasion. Just because of what's potentially going on in the market. I want to keep you guys up to date with everything, but you want to have your sell orders in. So let's say, for instance, you have Bitcoin Cash that you bought it and your average price in is around 125 or 150. Let's say it goes to $3,500. You may want to take some profit there, right? 2,500, and then maybe 3,500 and 4,500 or 5,000. Set up different profit points where you feel comfortable, because I think the all-time high with Bitcoin Cash was somewhere, it was under 5, but somewhere around that area. It might actually been hair over that $5,000 number. So with whether it's Bitcoin Cash, Theta, Ethereum, which is pretty well priced right now, around 1,300, it had a drop after the merge. The merge going obviously from proof of work to proof of stake. And I kind of thought it would take a hit. It's partly because just the whole market's taking a hit, but going from proof of work to proof of stake in the minds of most people that are crypto holders, people like myself who are very libertarian by nature, we don't like it because it's becoming more centralized. It went from a decentralized protocol to a centralized protocol. And I personally don't like that. However, there's so many use cases for Ethereum. So it's going to be good in the next 3 to 5 years, and we'll have nice run-ups. And it probably, because of its use case and how many things it's used for, smart contracts, NFTs, cross-chain compatibility with so many other blockchains, that it will be used for a while, and it will eventually overtake the market share of Bitcoin, not necessarily the price, but the market share, volume traded. So let's say Bitcoin gets up to 100,000. Ethereum could get up to 25,000. So you see that return right now, you wouldn't be 25. So if it got to that, you wouldn't have a 25 times return. You have something like probably 18 times return, which is still really, really good. That's assuming Bitcoin would have a pretty good run up here. And I do think on the next run up in Bitcoin, when that market really takes off, I expect it to be over 100, potentially 120, could go higher. Who knows? It depends how hot that market gets, and also depends what is melting down in the United States and around the world. And if we're engaged in a war, Biden made the mistake of saying that if China attacks Taiwan, we will actually defend them, which brings us into that war. We're already involved in the Ukraine war, so we'd be involved in a world war, obviously, all over the place, which would be bad, and chaos in the markets. But I do think that would help cryptos. Do think it would really help silver and gold as well. So those two assets would do well. Stock market probably does well. As the dollar drops in value, real estate probably in turn ends up doing well also, because people want to be in other assets. Anything other than, you think about failing currencies in any country, people want to shift their money from that currency to another asset, whether the asset is stocks, bonds, cryptos, mutual funds, or real estate. So you're going to have a nice fixed income if you're renting it. And as the dollar loses its value, and inflation would actually potentially really heat up if it loses its value, just because everything else would be going up so much around it. All the other commodity prices, obviously, fuel, oil, silver, gold, and cryptos would all be going up around it. So you would end up having inflation after deflation. So there'd initially be a deflationary stage, and then you would be hit with another inflationary stage. Inflation, deflation, inflation, or dragflation for a period of time. Right now, we're kind of hitting that dragflation, where everything is being pulled down because of the strong dollar. All assets are being pulled down, including the stock market right now. So literally every asset class, and now it's hitting real estate in certain areas. So that's where we are with the markets. I want you guys to be prepared. I want you guys to not only have accounts with Coinbase, but Binance.us, because they've got a ton more. They've been adding a lot of cryptos over the past year. So they're going to be another great one. They do a Theta. They do a Theta Fuel. Hopefully they'll have persistence soon. Right now you can get that on KuCoin, or you have to do it on a swap, or Caleb and Brown. And Caleb and Brown being one of the most important ones too. I have accounts with them. I'm going to end up shifting some of my Theta Fuel, potentially some Bitcoin over to them, that when the markets do run up, then I can start selling. And if it gets really heated, if the markets really take off, I may sell 50 or 75% of my portfolio and keep that 25, let it tank, and then I have a lot more to buy it back as it goes on sale again, right? And then you rinse and repeat. You do this process over and over and over again. All right, so let's just hit the markets right now and kind of go over what's happening. Bitcoin's been around 19,000. Hit as low as 18.6, I believe. Again, I expect it could have another down leg. I'm not giving you financial advice as far as telling you to buy. Like, I just think dollar cost averaging is always good. That's what I do. And I think it works the best, because we're not going to be able to time the market. Whatever you can afford to put in there. And again, I know it's hard. I have 4 kids. I spend a fortune on groceries. Everything costs so much more, whether you go out to eat, grocery store, filling up, it cost me $100 to fill up my Ford Expedition today with gas. So everything costs more. So whatever you can afford to put in, and I've been putting less in too, just because I've already put so much in over the years that I'm just doing smaller dollar amounts now. I put too much in during January, February, March, April of this year. And of course, it went down a little bit more, which is fine because I'm just dollar cost averaging in. But I kind of wish I would have done it more prolonged over a different period of time. But it is what it is. I'll be good long term. And this obviously for the next 5 to 7 years. So hoping that the market does turn here, whether it's the end of 2022, going in early 2023, potentially a little bit sooner, but likely kind of around then, just because I think they'll prop up everything as long as they can for the elections, right? The elections are in November. After that, we could see a big drop off, or we could have some crisis that happens. Maybe China decides, screw it, we're just going to invade Taiwan, and then US is forced to do it, and that throws everything into chaos, right? That's going to change what the dollar's doing. It's going to change what the stock market's doing. It's going to change everything, especially if we send troops there to go fight. So a lot of things to think about. We have a lot of chaos going on in the world, obviously. Weird times, crazy real estate market we all just went through, crazy drop in cryptos, but good time to be buying in cryptos because you want to be buying when it's quiet like this and nobody else is really talking about them. And when the market is down, obviously, it's like the stock market, right? When the stock market's on fire sale back in 2009, around March of 2009 was slow, that's when you wanted to buy. That was the time period to buy. Because if you look at crypto prices right now, they're obviously in down pretty heavy. You got 1323 for Ethereum, Bitcoin's around 19.4, and a bunch of things. Oh, XRP, by the way, has had a nice little run up. This went from 32 cents in last week to 49. Wanted to talk and hit with you guys today too, because apparently the SEC lawsuit is coming to the end. Everybody's filed for everything and asked for an answer. So this may be resolved very, very soon. If it goes as I expect, that they beat the SEC, because SEC has a bad case and the judge has even told them that, this will skyrocket XRP. The other one that will skyrocket is XLM with it. Here it is, Stellar Lumens, right? It hasn't had that run up that XRP has had recently, but it will follow it. They do the same thing. In essence, they're the same thing. They're bankers tokens. But XRP has done really, really well recently, and you see it moving up the charts here to number 6. So you could buy that on the Uphold app. I think you can buy it on Bitmart if anybody has Bitmart. I don't think you can get it on Binance right now. I know you can't get it on Coinbase. I've got to check crypto.com. And again, I want you guys to use crypto.com as well. You may be able to buy it on crypto.com. I have not tried there. I've usually just bought it on Uphold. It's been nice and simple and easy over the years to buy it on Uphold. Might be a good time if you want to kind of get a nice little bounce here over the next few months. Even if the rest of the crypto market doesn't go up, XRP may get that, and XLM. But little piece of advice, if it does do that bump up and you see it take a nice run up, let's say you buy it and your average price is 45 cents. If it goes to $1.50, sell a bunch of it, right? Sell a lot. Whether it's 25, 50 or 75%, whatever, or if you want to sell it all, go ahead and do that, because it may get to a point, and then if the rest of the crypto market is not going up with it, it's going to lose steam. If the rest of the crypto market's going up, it'll go up with it. But if it's not, if you see one or two of these cryptos take off a little bit, it's because of news or something that's happening in a positive way. But eventually it'll lose its steam. And in a bear market, it'll lose its steam quickly. Which brings me to one other crypto I want to talk to you guys about here. Theta. So an important date to think about is December 1st, 2022. And this is Theta's mainnet 4.0 being launched. And let's actually just go back here. I'm going to get into why that's important. I think it's ranked number 50. Yes. So Theta is $1.11. It was around $1.02 this morning. So it's a nice little run up here. But the Theta network is going from mainnet 3.0 to mainnet 4.0. And to give you an idea what it did before, it had a nice run up before mainnet 3.0, where it went up from the pennies, literally from like 25 to 50 cents to $16. Huge, massive run up. bull market. Okay. We were in a bull market. So that's partly why you got that big run up. But with 4.0, which is even way, way bigger, Theta's got so much stuff going on here. They have, I believe it's 6 or now 7 patents on their blockchain. Nobody else has more than 2. What they're doing between Theta TV, which is just like YouTube. Again, the co-founder of YouTube, Stephen Chen, is part of Theta here. They got that. They got one of the larger NFT exchanges, which keeps growing and growing and growing. And T-Drop is that native token. That's TDROP, T-Drop. You can only, it's a little harder to get than other tokens are. You can't get it on Binance, whatever. So you either got to go through Caleb and Brown or do a swap or do thetaswap.io. And then you can turn Theta, or you can turn, it's easier to use T-Fuel and turn it into T-Drop. I've done that. Fairly simple. You do need a MetaMask wallet to do that. So just a heads up there. But this launch is going to be big with what they're planning on doing and how their blockchain works, and to give you a little bit more background on their blockchain and why it's pretty big and important, and their network. So what their network is designed for gamers, it's designed for the metaverse, it's designed for streamers, right? People who are streaming video, playing games where they don't want lag going on. So how they achieve that is either I'm either staking my Theta, or I can't remember. There's 2 different ways you can do it. I have it on my one computer and I just earn T-Fuel by running my computer in the background. And what happens is if I'm not using my internet, if it's just dormant, it takes my speed and transfers it somehow. I don't know how it does this. I really don't. It transfers it to other users. So they're able to get increased bandwidth and are able to stream their games or their videos without lag. And that's super important. And that's why they have so many video. I think for a lot of the schools that now have gaming as a major, which is hard to believe. Yeah, there's gaming as a major. They are involved with some of these schools, I believe, as well. So they're going to be one of the main uses. So these kids can stream and for, I'm trying to remember what the name of the company is. I can't remember the name of the company. I'll try to find this for you guys. That has basically stadiums where there's literally stadiums like a baseball game, or really it's like a basketball or hockey game, that size stadium. People go and watch these people game live and watch them. I don't know why they do it. It's my kids, my kids, you know, and maybe millennials that are doing that, but it's becoming pretty big, and Theta is going to be a big part of that. So the future is very bright for Theta, for T-Fuel, for T-Drop on the NFT side. So this one potentially, let's just say Theta goes from $1 to $8, only makes half the run up it did before. Still a nice return, right? You're 8x your money in a very short period of time potentially. So if it does that, don't stake it, hold it, sell, take some profits, right? And then if it drops down, then you can buy back more Theta and then earn more of it. And my ultimate goal with all of them is turn as much of those profits I can either into more Bitcoin or whatever happens to be the top one, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum. Really like Cardano long terms. Most of you guys know will eventually overtake Ethereum, and Polkadot. Some of these are some really good ones for you guys to be looking at, but price points are really good right now. When you look at the values of these cryptos, I mean, Elrond, that's a solid number. Again, I'm not super bullish on that one as I am some of these metaverse plays. And we've been looking at these metaverse things since they were what, $2, $3, $4, $5 each. And now you're looking at Sandbox at 89 cents and Decentraland, which is Mana, at 72 cents. And I believe Gala is around 4 cents, and Star Atlas is like 0.002, I believe, or somewhere in that 0.00473. So you've got some really good value tokens out there. And if you want to gamble a little bit, if you guys are looking for a big return, and I am doing this, so this is an investment advice, but this is what I'm doing. If you kind of want to follow a little bit, I put a big amount being like around $8,000 into Shiba Inu, just because when the market starts to turn and goes up, all these cryptos go up, but SHIB will go up so much more because it's what, 4 zeros, 1085. So the amount is so low, you get huge swings in SHIB. Doge, you will too. It's about 5.9 cents right now, but SHIB's going to give you the most bang for the buck, the greatest return. But remember, that's an in and out token. Like I'll be in, goes and takes a run up, I'll sell all of it and take that profit and maybe buy something else with it, or just kind of see what the market's doing and put it in a stable coin. So that's kind of what I'm doing. If you guys want to follow that, that's great, but definitely dollar cost average. At this point, I've talked a ton. So I want to open it up to you guys. If anybody has any questions, unmute yourself and go ahead and fire away with questions. If anybody's got anything. I know, Nick, you're on a call, I think. Go ahead.
Hey, Paul, this is Hui.
Hi, Wei.
I just want to get your take on Ethereum. So now Ethereum is upgraded, the Ethereum 2 is done, but the price is going down. So I don't know what's happening.
So this is kind of, I talked a little bit about it in the beginning of the call. I expected this, and it's two reasons, right? The market just in general is down. But what happened is it went from proof of work, like Bitcoin is, to proof of stake. So it went from less decentralized to very centralized now, centralized control. And I'm blanking on the owner, the guy who runs it, young Russian guy. Anyway, I don't really fully trust Vitalik. I don't really trust him fully. He's in bed with the globalist, like the World Economic Forum. So I'm not huge on it. And I think that's what you have in the crypto world right now is a bunch of libertarians, people like me who just don't trust governments or any of these things. So we've gotten away from Ethereum because of that. That being said, I think it's a bargain. I think it's pretty good, but I do think it is more downside from the 13. I think it's like 1323 right now. You just pull it up here, 1323. I think it could go down to $600-700. And if it does, if we have this other down leg, and there's about a 50-50 shot that we have this next down leg where it'll be another drop. And let's say Bitcoin gets down to 80 or 85% off of its all-time lows or highs. That means Ethereum will probably be somewhere around $600, $700, maybe $800. And I would buy the heck out of Ethereum at that point, because of what I think will happen as the market goes and turns. Ethereum may actually outpace Bitcoin like it did a month ago leading up to the merge. So buy the rumor, sell the news is the old saying with stocks. That's kind of what happened with Ethereum. People were buying it going into the merge, and then the merge happened and people sold off, took those profits, I think sold off. But Ethereum's here to stay. It's in tight with companies, with corporate, big companies that are going to use them for smart contracts. It's here to stay. It will eventually, like I said, be overtaken by Cardano, but right now Ethereum's here to stay. It's definitely a good play. If you want a dollar cost average, do it. I've been buying a little bit myself. Dollar cost average, just a little bit. Any other questions, Wei?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else have anything? I do want to show you the fear and greed index, which is 22. Again, it's gotten pretty low from last week, 28 down to 22. And this is really just probably in regards to the Federal Reserve increasing the rates. And that brought the fear on there. It just, made people a little more fearful. But keep looking, keep checking out CoinDesk. They've got good articles on stuff. They talk about Bitcoin. By the way, if anybody's ever interested in mining, if you're interested at all in the future doing anything with mining, you will never find an equipment cheaper than it is now. People are trying to sell stuff because electricity prices are up so high that it's been less profitable for people. I'm doing some on a small scale with Ethereum Classic, because the Ethereum Classic is proof of work still, right? They're the old original Ethereum blockchain that they're still following. So they're different than Ethereum, what it is now, Ethereum 2.0. Keep that in mind. I do think ETH Classic still has some really good growth potential here in the future. And of course, as Ethereum goes up, Ethereum Classic will end up going up with it as well. But here's a little bit about the merge, and I guess talks a little bit about it's not necessarily solving all the cost things. There's the cost, they'll keep bringing the cost further and further down. The merge definitely helps with that. But some of these other layer 2s and 3s on top of it will keep reducing Ethereum's gas fees. Their gas fees are still higher than most, but going down significantly from what they were. So that's a really good thing right there. But it has become more centralized and more controlled is the only drawback to it. And people in the crypto space just don't like that. So that's why you see the drop. Trying to think if there's anything big in here. I don't think there's been really any other big news. Another good one. No other big news, but Luna Classic, which you can get Luna, which is LUNC. You can get that on crypto.com. You can also get on Binance.us. Just like SHIB, huge potential upside because it's very, very inexpensive. It is 0.0002799. These are the cryptos you want to target once the markets start to take off, because they'll go up exponentially more than the other ones will. But again, get your money out of them quickly. As the market takes off, have some profits, take some profits there, whether you set a sell order at a certain price point, or you just go in and say, hey, I've tripled my money. Now's the time to take some profits. So keep that in mind. Don't do what I did before and just sit there and watch it go up and like, oh, that's great. My portfolio looks great. Oh, it's $1.5 million. And now it's dropping way down. So you don't want to go through that. So learn from my mistakes for sure with that, and have sell orders in, and potentially with Caleb and Brown. And if anybody does not have the link for Binance, I could send you a link, because I think they give you, if you sign up under my referral, they give you something. I don't remember what it is. They might give us each like $10 or something, or $50. I can't remember what it is, but if anybody needs it, let me know. I'll send you the Binance one. I'm not sure if crypto.com has one, or if anybody needs a Caleb and Brown link who doesn't have a Caleb and Brown account yet, let me know. I'll get that over to you. What I'm going to start doing for you guys, kind of like I did a little bit tonight and touched on Theta, is we'll pick a different crypto for each meeting, and I'll get into the history. We'll talk about that crypto and what it does, what the use cases are, and whether we think it's a good long-term play or not. So if there's any cryptos that any of you guys want, email me and let me know what they are, and I'll put them on a list, and we'll start hitting them each call. We'll get into them, whether we spend 15 minutes or 30 minutes, we'll get into some of these until we get into a really raging bull market. And then you might have lots of other questions, and should I sell this or whatever? And we'll get into those. But as we get into a bull market, that's where we're going to have a lot more meetings. But I'm trying to save your 26, we only have 26. I'm trying to save as many as I can for when the market starts to move and you guys have more questions and you're more in need of me at that point. So next week we won't have a meeting, but the week after I'll be in Tampa next week. The week after we'll plan on having a meeting, because we'll be into early October at that point, and we'll see what's going on here. It'll be early fall as it is. I think today's the first day of fall, if I remember right. And we'll see what the markets look like in about 2 weeks when since the Federal Reserve increased the rates. We'll see what effect that has over the next week and a half, 2 weeks. We should have an idea of where things are going and what the Federal Reserve's plans are beyond that, as far as whether they keep increasing by 3/4 of a point, whether they pull back. Again, I think if the stock market really tanks, they'll start pulling back and they'll start pumping liquidity in the system, but we'll see. We'll see what they have there. Anybody else have any questions before we sign off here? Oh, the Crow token, that was another one I wanted to hit on. That's crypto.com's native token. It's around 10 cents right now, 10.66 cents right now. Good buy. Metaverse plays, Sandbox, obviously, Mana, which is Decentraland, Illuvium. Illuvium's a little more expensive, $55. Engine, which I think is a great value right now, 47 cents. VRA, which is Veracity, is 0.004 cents. And Zilliqa, which is also a metaverse play, is 3.3 cents. Those are some of the metaverse ones. Star Atlas and Gala's 4 cents. Star Atlas is 0.00473. All good plays right now. The metaverse is not even being talked about for the most part. It's low key. And that's when you want to be buying it, when it's not being talked about. When the market heats up, the metaverse tokens will go up probably more than some of your standard regular basic tokens like Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and others. So that's all I got to say about that. And hopefully that helps you guys with anything. Anybody has any other questions? Anybody who wasn't on this call has questions, just email me and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And if nobody else has any other questions here, we will sign off. Is everybody good? See everybody.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Paul, can you send a link for that Bull Shift?
For Bullshift, yes.
site? Yeah.
I'll send that out right. It's bullshift2020.com. I'll send an email out right after this call on Bullshift 2020. And it's free. You just sign up for his newsletter, you get some stuff. We can also take classes on technical analysis, which just shows you how to trade a little bit. And he gets into some other stuff, a lot of commodities as well. But he's very, very good. Great one to follow. So I will send that out. All righty, guys. Thank you all. And we will catch you soon. Talk to you in 2 weeks.